You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dini Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to another awesome episode of Vigilantes Radio. I'm your host, dini-mussolini, and we have a very special guest for this segment's episode, so you should definitely stick around for that. Fill up your drinks, grab a few snacks, and chill out and tune in to learn about, well, I don't really want to give away what we're going to talk about right now, but yeah, it's definitely a treat. So have a sit down, and actually with the beauty of the internet, you can be anywhere in the world doing anything and still listening to me. So, yay internet, or cell phones, or both. You get it. Anyway, some time ago, I believe the date is July the 20th, like 1969. Don't quote me on that, but it may or may not be right. I think it's right, though. See, when I was back in school, 4th grade especially, I was the kid that always sat in the back picking his nose. Not the bright one on the front row, you know, with the hand in the air all the time. So sometimes things may be wrong, but I believe that's right. Anyway, after a 250,000-mile journey, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin stepped out into the lunar surface and walked around on another world. Or so they tell us, but that's another show. Anyway, through determination, focus, effort, sacrifice, and teamwork, the objective of sending people to the moon was met. It gave us confidence, knowledge, and know-how, experience, technology, and set in motion a spirit of possibility, exploration, and achievement that continues to make a positive difference in the world today. Technology, innovation, adventurous spirit, and certainly they're not to fall short, you know, but on the whole, we're a whole lot better off with them than without them. Some things are worth doing simply for the challenge. We need those things, and we need the people who take the risk to achieve them. They challenge us all to find the best within ourselves. They encourage us all to raise our standards and, you know, to more fully explore our possibilities. On this special anniversary of July the 20th, 1969, that is coming up this year. Yeah. You know, hopefully we'll celebrate together, celebrate the dreamers, the pioneers, the explorers who compel us to set our sights even higher. At its best, life is about doing what has never been done, making the impossible possible. May we never lose the desire or the ability to go after the toughest challenges, no matter what that is. I believe in you guys, and I want you, each morning, each night, stare yourself in the mirror and say, I believe in me too. Okay? Take that from me, dini-mussolini. That is my word, and word is bond.
You're live in the mix. Let's get this started.
Yo, hello and welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Music or Inside the Book. Inside the Business, where we dive into the minds of the people who create marvelous things. It feels so good to be back with you guys once again. So one time for my people who are indigos, crystalline or starseeds, or for my Vigilantes audience family, and 2 times for my people who are vegetarian or vegans. If you're like me, we are averaging over 37,000 live listeners, and we've been at this for 4 solid years. I appreciate all you guys who've been rocking with the kid on this journey, and we are still evolving, baby. It is all because of you, most definitely. We are the people who have dedicated their lives to music, spirituality, business, literature, art, movies, and research in every aspect, and we want to allow you an opportunity to tell your story. Man, we've had celebrities on our show, from Grammy Award-winning artists to nominees to actors, comedians, CEOs, technology geniuses, visual artists, from authors to professors and aliens. Or people think they're aliens. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Come on our show and talk to me. So check it out. To book an interview or just to share a real cool story, email me at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. And that's V as in Victor. I'm passionate about what I do, just as passionate about what you do, and together, yes, together, we can get your voice heard by the people who should hear it. So let's create something incredible. You know the number to dial, 701-801-9813. Text that number to your buddy right now and tell them to tune in to connect with us or our guests, or you can hop in the mix directly from our website, onlyonemediagroup.com. Right from the homepage, you can slap that go live button and you'll be right here live in the mix and in the chat room with all of us. Feel free to shoot over some questions to ask our guests while they are here, but only as time permits. Sometimes my guests and I talk entirely too much and we take up the entire hour. And as always, all episodes are available for free download, and you can grab that from either Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, iTunes, YouTube, or any app from the Google Play or iTunes Store, or over at our website. And that goes for every single episode that we ever aired.
All right, guys, you've heard my call, you've read my emails, and we are here tonight. Tonight's interview is the Too Many Turtles interview. And again, I'm your host, dini-mussolini. We are the people who have dedicated their weekdays and nights to music, books, films, news, business ventures, conspiracies, and just talk in general, from our incredible writing and promotion here on our new Facebook page. By the way, I know a lot of you guys right now on Facebook right now. I know it, right? While you're there, scroll on over to Vigilantes Radio and slap that like button. Give us a like, share it with a friend, tell a buddy, sharing is caring. And we also have a show called Vigilantes Radio, which is what you're listening to now. It's our interview and music show, where we interview and play music. And then we have another show called Skeptics of the Handshake. Cool name, right? Yeah, so we talk about, what do we talk about? Oh, business, money, relationships, spirituality, and we kind of bring on celebrities in the average show and mix the two together and have like unscripted conversation about what's going on in the world today. A lot of things going on in the world today. It's a very crazy show, very funny. You should check it out. We also have another show called Hated It, and that's where Mike and I review movies and TV shows of all kinds, and we tell you why we hate it. Yeah, very funny. Anyway, we spend each and every day giving our maximum effort to create a vibrant indie and professional community for all creative minds that coexist on this beautiful artistic world. As I told you guys, our special guest today is the innovating team from Too Many Turtles. So let's go ahead and invite them on. Hey guys, you're now live in the mix with all of us. How is it going?
Hey man, how's it going? How you doing, man?
Hey, it's going. So glad that you guys had a moment to sit down with old Dini and chat it out about Too Many Turtles.
Oh, we've been waiting for this all day. We've been excited. We're definitely pumped up for it.
Yeah. We're glad to be showing off what we've been working on the last little while.
All right, and I'm ready to show it to all of our listeners, the Vigilantes. So I guess that's where we should start, right? to get a little background from you guys. So if you'd be so kind to introduce yourselves and even give us your life story. You know, we love stories, the highs, the lows, the heartbreaks, the sobs, the violins, all that. Car crashes, you know, explosions, whatever happened in your life, let us know. We're interested.
All right, yeah, we're definitely going to get into that a little bit. I'm Brendan Woodhall. My friends call me Big Red. I'm over business development for this project. Mostly, I'm in charge of selling the game, which means everyone makes turtle puns, and I get to sell those turtle puns.
I'm Jordan. Everybody calls me Thor, and I'm the guy who makes the turtle puns.
He also handles production and operations on the back end. So the person who gets to deal with everything that we're about to do is Jordan right here, our good friend.
Nice.
Yeah, and then let's see. We actually also have a third member of this little crew here. His name is Chris, but we call him Mario. He's kind of
he would be the game design head. He's the savant of game rules. He's the king of killjoys. He loves to kill my fun when I find a loophole, and he gets to shut it off. And he's honestly to credit for the mechanics and the idea behind the game itself. So we're sorry he couldn't be here, but he should be listening in. So hopefully he gets on and is able to listen in.
Yeah, how you doing, Mario? If you're listening.
Cool deal.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with the most obvious questions that's in this industry. Most people probably want to know about, can you walk us through how you design a game? Like, how do you start? What's the whole process?
Yeah. Well, it starts off really, really simple. It actually started off between Mario and I. We were working at a machine shop. Actually, all three of us worked together there. We've been friends for a while, and it just wound up that we were all employed at the same spot. Anyways, we were working together, and we really just had too much time on our hands. We had too much time to sit there and think. And we got to thinking, well, why couldn't we make a game? What do we need to make a game? We needed rules. We needed something to hook our viewers in, and we needed to make it fun to play. And you know, just off the cuff, we managed to come up with the rules for 3 fairly simple games. And it came down to, all right, well, let's pick one to really focus on, and then the other couple, 3, 4 that we come up with, we'll just work on when we get burned out. The first words that actually fell out of my mouth was too many turtles. So that's where we started. And eventually we got to thinking about making it a trading card game and moving through kind of the processes of that, where you just have way too many turtles. That was really the driving force behind that idea. And I ended up moving over and finding Brendan, and I talked to him about, you know, hey, like, what if we were able to sell this? Would we be able to make any sort of marketability in that? Could we do something to put back into the community? Could we try and save some turtles or something? If we're talking about too many turtles, that's really not very politically correct if you're talking about wiping out turtles, right? Yeah, let's try and save some turtles with the game talking about wiping out turtles. And our focus has shifted grossly since then, but that's where it really started.
Now, let me specify this. This started with them making jokes. That is what this has been. It's been about 8 months of me listening to these two make turtle puns and other puns and jokes. And they judge their desire to use said joke based on how much it upsets me, because I just can't keep up with them. But to kind of backspin a little bit on what Jordan said and take a little bit of credit away from, like, the noble intentions of this. When Jordan came over to me and he said, hey, we're thinking about, we threw this idea out, too many turtles, and he pitches this at me. He's talking about making a trading card game about turtles, and he's throwing a few of these first turtle ideas out at me, like the Turtlenator and Abnormally Speedy Sid, and just laughing super hard every time I get upset over a stupid joke or pun. And my first initial thought when he came over and said too many turtles was, hey, we could make a lot of money off of this. Now, we'll get to this a little bit in a minute, kind of how the research and the work that we've done has changed our perceptions. But I'm not afraid to admit that our first instinct was, hey, people love turtles. We can make a lot of money off this. And the reason I bring that up is not just to say, oh, well, we had this idea. It's that when we started looking into it, we realized that there really was an issue, that this was something we wanted to do something about. And it really became less about, oh, we can make a lot of money off of this, and hey, we can donate a lot of money off of this. And it started becoming, oh, hey, we can make a real world impact. We can actually do something good with this project. And that's when the whole project started to shift and become more lifelike, and we were able to take it to the next level. So we met with our nonprofit organization and everything.
Started accruing product developers. We started looking for graphic designers. None of us were particular artists. And like we said at the beginning, we were kind of going for a TCG feel, where we were using Magic the Gathering. Actually was a pretty large influence on a lot of the styles that we decided to go with. We decided to use several different artists as opposed to a singular artist, and we really wanted to kind of showcase their talents because they all do have some really fun, unique styles. And I'm really glad that we kept that element, although we ended up kind of abandoning the trading card game idea.
Okay. So how many of the jokes and puns made it into the actual game?
Oh, we've got a list that's not comprehensive. There are plenty that never got put down on the list, but the list that we have is about 450 cards long, and I would say between 70 and 80, somewhere in that range, made it into the first generation. So a majority of them did not. Most of them were pretty good, but we kind of selected themes and everything for our first launch.
Okay. So what do you mean by first generation? Is the game, is there like a second generation?
Oh, we fully intend to release new decks, new expansions, and turn this into as long as we get the support that we hope we get from the community, we want to turn this into a 10 or 15 year project where we're spending, a decade or a decade and a half or 2 decades using this game and our platform to make a difference on turtle conservation. We're not going to save species and stop these major issues, with one campaign that goes over 2 months. That's something that takes a lot of time and energy. There's people way better than us that have spent their entire lives dedicated to that mission. Our only goal is to kind of bring a platform to allow them to spread the word and to hopefully bring some well-needed resources and attention to the work that they're doing. Because at the end of the day, we're not living biologists. We're just not.
It's nice to let the public view too. Well. Yeah. I mean, everybody's looking for a way to speak up a little bit. Tell them that. Sorry, everybody's looking for a way to help out. And this is kind of a cool way for the public to really engage on a very active level that we're finding, which is kind of a cool thing for us.
Yeah, it's dope. So how long from idea to concept to actual game did it take?
I think the first bad joke that I told Brendan was in...
Was this project or in general?
Aha, you think you're funny. How about this project? We'll start with this project and we can work farther back if that's what people want to hear about.
Yeah.
We started, I think, July of 19. It was just July of last year.
It would have been late June, early July last year. So we're looking at about 8 months or so to launch. From conception of the idea, from the first time we had cards come in, started looking for artists, started actually thinking about this project and putting some concepts down.
Nice. All right, cool deal. And one tagline that I remember distinctly is brought to you by the guys who play Exploding Kitties.
Exploding Kittens?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever played Exploding Kittens?
No, I haven't. No.
If you haven't, you definitely should. It was from the creators of the internet comic strip The Oatmeal, if you've ever seen them. So they already had a pretty solid platform. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it is, or at one point was, until recently, the most funded card game on Kickstarter.
It's the most funded game.
I think it was the most funded game on Kickstarter. It was fantastically successful. Really quick shout out. This is kind of a branch into something else, but while I've got it pulled up here, one of the things we really want to do, and we'll get into this a little more when we start talking about how we want to use a game to make a difference, is we would really love to open up a channel to start working with some of these other indie game producers that we love, like Patrick Letter from Oath. We've been really excited to see his new game come out. We had the guys who made Unstable Unicorns, Rami Badi. He just barely released Here to Slay. I believe it finished up yesterday. They crushed their campaign. You got Ben Hantu with Cards Against Humanity. Everyone knows Cards Against Humanity. We want to work with some of these guys to really make a difference in the world in some real way.
Most definitely. All right, cool deal. So I guess we should back it up because it all has to start somewhere. And you guys can talk about your journey, how you met each other, how the friendship formed. Because I think those things are important when you're building a product together. How those mechanics of friendship and workmanship work together to create a product, and how a product can bring other friends together and keep that kinsmanship going. So yeah, let us in on your world.
Yeah, absolutely. So this goes back coming up in August, so here in about 6 months will be 7 years from when we met. Just a quick note of reference for those of you out there who don't know, our game is called Too Many Turtles. Our company name is called Tre Amici Games, or TAG. The reason it's called Tre Amici Games is because Tre Amici in Italian means three friends. And the three of us met almost 7 years ago in an Italian class in Utah at Weber State University, shout out Wildcats, in Ogden, Utah, where we still live and where we're launching this game, right? So the roots go way back. And the reason we became friends is the weirdest little coincidence. It's tripped people out for years because Jordan and I, we became friends in that class because of our last name. Jordan's last name is Woodall, spelled Woodall, and my last name is Woodhall, Woodhall. So the only reason we talked to each other is because when the teacher called notes or called roll, she was like, "Are you two related?" And we're like, "No, we don't think so." And 7 years later, we're best friends, we're roommates, and we're building a company together. So in terms of where it all started, that's where it started.
Yeah, first bad joke I ever told. My name's not Brendan.
That is very true, yes. Yeah, in class.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been a trip to this day, and it's been something that just immediately cemented our little friends group. And we paid homage to that in naming our company. So that's kind of a fun, interesting story about where it started. And from there, we spent the better part of those 7 years just kind of off and on friends. Yeah. I mean, the three of us were core group members, and yeah, we had a group that has been meeting consistently for 7 years to watch movies and celebrate big events and all that stuff. And it wasn't until about 6 months ago that all three of us wound up in the same place at the same time consistently. Closer to about 10 or 11 months. Really? Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, so it would have been in May of 19. We all started working at a machine shop together. And we'd all worked together individually. I had worked with CJ in another shop setting. And I'd worked with Mario in another shop setting. I forget, a lot of people don't call him CJ. And then Mario, it's true. Prior to working at the machine shop, Jordan and I had actually been bartenders together at a bar here in Ogden. And we'd worked for 6 or 8 months together there. Something like that. And I moonlighted at that machine shop with Mario. Right. Yeah, so we'd all worked together, but never all three at the same time.
Wow, that's magical.
Yeah, we got into the machine shop, and it's very much a push-a-button kind of job. So we had a lot of time in between parts running, like after we'd done our work and we're waiting for the next part to come up, we would just kind of talk about stuff. We'd tell jokes, we'd talk about what we were listening to or different projects we were interested in working on. And we needed a bit more focus, honestly. Just to tease a little bit, the first game we actually came up with, and it's a game that we actually have a playtest version ready for, and we're working on, at some point, moving towards the design phase on this game. It's based off of Borderlands, the video game, if you've ever played that.
Yeah.
And it's called Mr. Torx Tabletop Arena, and CJ just knocked the ball out of the park with that game in terms of the rules. He created this incredible game. Single shift. It was done in 6 hours. It was savant-like. It really was. And we were so excited about this game, and they came and talked to me, and they were like, "Hey, all right, Mr. Torx Tabletop Arena." And I'm not a big video game person. I grew up with a younger brother that was bigger and meaner than me, so it was his Xbox, not our Xbox. So I didn't have much experience, but I was like, I can sell stuff. I'm really good at selling stuff, so let's do this. Let's get licensing from Gearbox. And when we realized that was going to be a project, especially with no credibility and nothing going on, that's when we started pitching some other ideas, and Too Many Turtles came out. And then all of a sudden we started developing some game mechanics and some card ideas, and then we reached out to artists. And if you want the long story short, we can walk you through that journey, but the next 8 months were pretty much just a roller coaster. So, and then all of a sudden we're here with a full product, and the Kickstarter that launches in 2.5 days.
Yeah, Valentine's, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna show the turtles some love.
right. How many drafts did you guys go through?
You want to take this one?
Oh, let's see. We
Start with that first card.
Oh man, we are going to at some point frame up the first card that we ever printed, and it was actually just a free sample. I had been browsing on some internet websites. I signed up for a couple of newsletters. They actually mailed me a free sample of one of my cards.
Well, they mailed you the kit, and then we ordered the free sample.
That's true. They mailed the Swatch kit, and then we ordered the free card. But the free card we actually got was one of the first designs that we ever received, and it was for Abnormally Speedy Sid, which we've got images kind of posted up. He's become our little poster child, I guess, for lack of a better word. And he was just glorious.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, looking back now, the card was absolutely horrendous. All of the borders were off, and it was poor quality. But
yeah,
it was our first card, and it was so exciting. And then we moved on to our first full run, which we actually ended up producing every single card design that we had. And it was just a couple of 50-card decks. We moved on with a third iteration where we actually started trying to put some deck structure into that, and really trying to get it ironed out into what we wanted to see going up on our
once we had
Kickstarter
more
page.
card design, full deck design and stuff like that.
And we've been really rolling through some of these grueling play tests, trying to get everything so that we wanted it to work right. We actually got our fourth prototype iterations that actually came in more or less the final box that we're going to see. We got those back in November, I think, and we just got them back from product photography, so we're stoked to have them again.
Yeah, so, I mean, I honestly, it's hard to describe how just geeking out and excited we were in that moment. Like, you go from having an idea to actually having a card in your hand, right? And it's like you have a physical representation of this idea that you had. And then you go, and I guess the next stage was we got the sets of cards where we didn't have all of them, but we had like 6 decks of cards, right?
Yeah,
it was first
enough to make a play test.
And we had that first play test, and we went from these little paper strips where we'd printed on the text to an actual card that we can put in a card sleeve, and we've got our card art and the card effects and everything, and they're not perfect, but just that moment to actually be playing our game that we designed with our cards. Honestly, that's one of the coolest moments that we've had. Even the moment where we actually got our playtest versions back, where we went to Office Max, and we spent $20 to print off 600 cards or something like that, just paper sheets full of just printed cards, no artwork, just the effects and the names. And we just sat in our basement and just played the game, and we were so excited because it worked. And we didn't know if it worked prior to that moment. That's really what matters along the journey. It's those little moments where you're like, wow. When you get the final prototype and you're like, wow, this is a full product. This doesn't have stickers on boxes. It's not. We don't have a homemade insert or any of these things. The rule book isn't a different print than the cover of the box. Like, it's our actual game. Yeah, on the first round of prototypes. And that's the moment. That's the momentum that we hope to keep going, because, like Jordan said, we got pretty much our final version, which likely will not be the version that goes out to everyone when this campaign comes to a close. Because if everything goes according to plan, we're going to keep improving. We're going to make the game better. We're going to make the packaging better. We're going to make everything look and feel better and be more engaging as we go along, because that's what we want to give to the customers.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, guys, tell us about, the research involved in the development.
You want to start with the turtle research?
Oh, the turtle research? The turtle research was one of the sadder points, because when we decided to actually try and take a really harsh charity angle into this, or even more of an angle than we were planning before, we started researching turtle facts just because we thought it'd be cool to try and jumpstart our social media while we didn't have any real concrete prints of our cards or any material that we could provide people at that point. And we found, turtles are really having a rough time lately. It's just, everything we looked up was either...
Do you mind if I jump in with some statistics real quick?
Yeah, by all means.
Just some of the more shocking statistics. And just to backtrack a tiny bit, I told you that my initial reaction was, oh, hey, people will spend a lot of money on something like this. They love turtles. Like, it's a buzzword. We can save a bunch of turtles, right? And when we started doing the research, I had this, I don't know if it was guilt or what it was, just kind of like, I was a little ashamed of that stance, because when you look at like what we looked at, it just hurts, right? Like some of the statistics that we found out in terms of sea turtles. 6 out of 7 species of sea turtles are either threatened, endangered, or critically endangered, right? And it's due to human interaction and activity in large part. And the 7th species of sea turtle that we know of is not necessarily doing so well. It's just found in such a small area that there's not enough data to develop a real concrete stat, right? 129 out of 300 turtle species are considered threatened, endangered, or critically endangered. So almost half of all turtle species are in that category. And we can get into plastics. I've got a whole bunch of statistics on plastics, but it was kind of heavy to go through those statistics and to see what's really happening, and to talk to our nonprofit partner, Sea Turtles, and to see what they're actually dealing with. It definitely weighed heavy.
Most definitely. Yeah, I could imagine. That's a lot to take in when the environment and turtles, are being, their livelihood are being threatened. And to take on that mission, man, you guys are incredible for that. Yeah.
And even more so, one more thing I really want to input real quick on this note. One thing we did find out, Dini, are you a fan of fish? You eat a lot of fish?
Man, yeah. I have a fish tank, a few of them.
Sea turtles are considered a keystone species in the ocean biodiversity sphere, right? And the reason this is such a critical battle is because if we lose this battle, it's going to wreak havoc. If sea turtle species start going extinct in the real world, we're going to start losing other ocean biodiversity like fish, and we're going to end up with likely an ocean full of one of the most resilient creatures in the ocean, which is the squid. So we're going to be eating a lot less fish and a lot more squid if this isn't something we address. So it's something that hits home on a very personal level, especially someone like me, where I grew up eating fish and everything like that. It's definitely something to be very, very mindful of.
Most definitely. Yes, sir. All right. So, guys, why is Too Many Turtles the idea edutainment game?
Edutainment. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was reading that earlier. Okay, so like educational entertainment. All right, do you want to take a little bit of this?
Well, as we were going through, we skipped over just a smidge of the research. The first step to the research was actually looking up different kinds of turtles, because we wanted to use some actual turtles if we could afford to. The first thing I did was Google
different species of
turtles, and popped up with, Eastern River Cooter.
Oh, my favorite species of turtle, the Eastern River Cooter, inspiring one of my favorite cards, Cletus the Eastern River Cooter.
And we thought it would be funny to just give them humanized names. Cletus the Eastern River Cooter. We've got Rita the Red-Eared Slider, Guillermo the Galapagos Green,
Tiny Tilda.
And when it came to coming up with effects or descriptions for them, we really couldn't come up with anything better or more appropriate than just
some facts about them.
Yeah, a quick run-up of the facts. It's cool to learn that these are actual turtles. I didn't know nearly as much as I did, or as much as I have learned. I didn't know that there were so many species, so many subspecies, that there were variations, and what those variations were. Yes, soft shells, hard shells, there's terrapins and whatnot. It's kind of wild to learn all of this stuff.
Turtles, tortoises, and terrapins, oh my.
Right. And to be able to hand it over in a somewhat digestible way, where it's like you can look at it and say, oh, a cooter manages to get up to about a foot long. That's interesting. Yeah. And it's something that might be a learned fact, which is just cool to have.
One other thing that's really interesting to put out there. So another one of those kind of heartbreaking statistics that I heard about, this was actually passed along to us through a Twitter account that followed us very early on in kind of our social media push, Red-Eared Sliders. Right? And this guy really likes and posts a lot about Red-Eared Sliders. And he sent us some information early on that we posted on our social media accounts, that the Red-Eared Slider average lifespan is between 45 and 60 years.
In the wild.
In captivity, these turtles are living an average of about 2 years, because people get them and they don't know how to take care of them, right? Or people get these turtles that they think are going to be a small little turtle, and all of a sudden they've got a foot-long turtle that requires twice the tank that they have, and is a hassle and a mess, and they end up dumping these turtles in local ponds or any number of things, and it's just not good for the whole having turtles as pets issue. And we've actually run into a lot of amazing people who have done really incredible work rescuing turtles. That's been a really cool part of what we've done.
Nice. All right. So, I know this is a posing question, and sometimes it has to do with social media and, just the typical universe of people. But how can someone learn from playing too many turtles who isn't typically into, like, conservation or saving the planet or even environment issues for that matter?
Well, in that respect, the way that our game is set up is the goal of the game, like we said, too many turtles. At first it was kind of wiping turtles out with a tongue-in-cheek, but lately the game has shifted to become more of a save turtles idea. When you play turtles out of your hand and onto the field, you're saving these turtles. You're gaining the points that they would gain, and the way that it plays is relative to their biome, and it's relative to the amount of HP that you have. It can be overturned with effect cards that we've got in the deck, and a lot of the effect cards, they can be tongue-in-cheek as well, but some of them are
the Italian skateboard.
Yeah, the Italian skateboard. Yeah. We've got some that are fun, and then we've got some of the more serious and macabre ones, like debilitating pollution, and then we've got blasted.
We've got oil spill. We've got environmental cleanup, which we can get environmental cleanup and recycling, which we'll get into that here in just a second. We've also got, there's some of them more that aren't necessarily like real issues, but shell death, house fire, that also play effect into the game. But a good portion of our cards are focused on like real world issues.
And things will be touched in such a way. And like he was touching on earlier, we also have recycling and environmental cleanup, because these are ways that we can actively promote cleaning up our planet, recycling, making smarter choices, being more sustainable in our efforts to coexist with the planet.
Yes, indeed. So, tell us about the gameplay. How do you play to win or play to lose?
Well, like we said, the objective of the game is to save turtles, and you've got to be thinking on your toes while you do it. It takes the course of 3 rounds. Each round is played in 5 turns.
Okay.
And you've got 5 turns to get as many turtles onto the field as you can, get as much. Each turtle has a amount of HP. You want to have the most HP at the end of the round. You can remove turtles from your opponent's field. You can add extra turtles to your side of the field. You can shuffle them around. They actually get to move across a grid form because, with abnormally speedy Sid, some turtles are just a little faster than others, and they can move a little farther. The grid actually is shaped a pyramid-style system. It's shaped quite a lot like a pyramid. You have 3 rows in front of you, 4 rows on the bottom, 3 in the middle, and 2 on the top.
So let me elaborate a little bit just to make this nice and clear. Think of it of a, apologies to the viewers, but a beer pong rack. You've got 4, 3, 2, but it's in the pyramid shape, and you've each got opposing fields heading towards each other. If that makes sense in terms of visualizing the field in and of itself.
Almost like an hourglass.
Yes. Each turn is made up of 4 phases. You start by drawing, with the exception of the first turn of each round. The person who goes first does not draw. Everyone else draws. So you draw, you move a turtle. So all turtles are summoned into the back row. You can move a turtle up a row. You can play a turtle, and you can play an effect card. If you do not have the ability to do any of those, for example, if you do not have a turtle to move, if you do not have a turtle to play, or you do not have an effect card to play, you just skip that portion of the turn. And you go back and forth until both players have had 5 turns to play, and then you calculate up your total number of HP based on the turtles you have on the field and any applicable bonuses or minuses. And that's how you determine who wins the round. It's a best of 3, first person to get to 2 wins.
Okay, best of 3 rounds. Got it. All right. So, are alliances allowed, or is it every man for themselves?
So the game is intended to be played 2 players. It's meant to be played 1 versus 1, but we are going to be releasing rules for people that get the higher card number packs. So people that get the higher level backer goals, where they're getting more cards, will include rules for a multiplayer set. So if you have 4 decks, we've developed a system where you can play against each other. And in that case, it would be on a team basis, and you're playing against another team.
You could play on a team basis. You could play a free-for-all.
Free-for-all, yes. Exactly.
We're thinking of including a handful of different multiplayer rules because they seem to go hand in hand with comparatively little difference.
And another really cool point on this is the bigger this campaign gets, the cooler we can make the multiplayer games. The more cards we'll be able to include in all levels of the pledge goals. Yeah. Because our goal is to include as much as we can for the money that people are putting into this game. And the bigger the campaign gets, the cheaper it gets to produce everything and the more we can include. So the bigger this campaign gets, the more fun multiplayer NSFW style perks and bonuses will be released for this game. And not all, there's not all of it that's going to be specifically for an adult market, but we definitely want to release kind of a little bit for everyone.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. So how big are you guys' vision? Is a video game an option for Too Many Turtles?
It's a little too early to count anything out, but we're really just trying to have as much fun as we can with this, and we want everybody else to have as much fun as they can with us. We really want to make an impact on the world, and as long as we're making an impact, we'll try and keep pushing it forward.
And we're just like quintessentially gamers. Like we grew up playing. Some of us not so much grew up, but we all came up in our little friends group having game night, playing D&D, doing sessions where we play for 6-8 hours, and we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, or a lot of video game tournaments, and just generally gaming in any form has been something that's been super interesting to us. And especially Mario, we just love the design aspect of the game. This kind of a job, if we pull this campaign off and we come to the end of this campaign and we have the ability to set up a company where this is just what we do, and we can develop a main branch that just makes whatever games we want to come up with, and a completely separate company underneath the parent company that focuses on nonprofit goals and those collaborations with other indie artists to change the world, that would be the dream come true. And we don't think there's any limit. One thing that I definitely feel like we can all express with our little group is we don't believe in limits. There's no such thing as impossible. One thing we've been getting from a lot of people is that, wow, that's almost unrealistic. And they don't want to say that it's unrealistic, but you can tell that it's really? You think that's actually going to happen? But if they saw it from our point of view, there's no such thing as can't do that. It's just a matter of time. It's when are we going to get there?
That's right. All right. So I've seen board games, card games, sales go up 20% each year. Are you guys feeling the excitement of the industry right now? What's your prediction?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, we are.
We're a huge industry.
Yeah, we watched Rainy Beatty with Unstable Unicorns. He managed to pull together a campaign. It seemed much like we are. He didn't have a whole lot of background in it, but he had a good idea, a solid concept, and he really just drove the point home that it was going to be an entertaining game, and he really did. He
executed well. He executed really well.
And he just had another campaign
Here to Slay, which we backed. We're so excited to play that game.
We are. Oh, man.
Hey, Rainy Beatty, if you're hearing this, please get in touch. We would love to work with you. We're huge admirers of what you do. Seriously, just on a base level, we love the stuff that you're putting out. Huge fans. So yeah, we're definitely feeling the excitement.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's cool to see people come up, and we really hope that we have what it takes to get there too.
Definitely. And there's a shop that just popped up maybe 2 years back in my neighborhood. It's a card shop where gamers come and play board games and card games, and there's even some video games because of the popularity of card games coming back. Actual board games coming back, and I would love to see Too Many Turtles be one of the games they're supply for their customers. Are you guys thinking of doing expos such as card shops?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be kind of phase 2. So the way crowdfunding works, especially launching something like this on Kickstarter, is they want it to be a product that doesn't already exist on the market. So at the moment, we're kind of staying away from retail and local game shops in that regard. Now, there's a lot of campaigns where they'll include if you want to be on the ground level and get inventory for your shop, you can buy a box at a discount for this price, but you have to provide proof that you have a brick and mortar store. Now, I don't think we're going to do something like that, but we're definitely going to be, as soon as we have the go-ahead that this campaign is successful and we're moving into phase 2, and this campaign becomes Jordan's problem because he has to produce all these card games, I'm going to start going and adding on to that problem by building up the retail market, talking to local game shops and some of those bigger contracts and trying to nail down a real retail market. Because ultimately, if we get on that really quickly, not only will it make the production process smoother, but it will also give us a better chance of making this game cost effectively, giving us more resources to do the things that we want to do, like Save the Turtles, because the cost goes down as the quantity goes up. So hopefully that's something we can piggyback on this campaign to really help drive it all home. It's definitely on the radar.
Cool deal. And along the way with developing this game, you guys partnered with an actual movement that is out, in the field of conservation for turtles. How did that come about?
It was kind of wild. When we were working at the machine shop, like we said, we came up with the idea of too many turtles, and we came up with the concept of maybe actually using it to save some turtles. And immediately, Brendan jumped on the phone and began making phone calls to see who we could get connected and who we could get on board. And we've had a handful of people that have contacted us and said they're interested and said that they'd like to communicate with us. But one of the first and quickest to respond, one of the people that we ended up going with, his name is Brad Nahill. He runs Sea Turtle, which is a nonprofit, and they've actually been saving sea turtles up and down Central and South America for a few years now. It's pretty wild to see. We ended up driving out to Portland, just kind of on a breakneck overnight trip to meet with Brad and go over some of the finer points of what we've done. It was,
you're not joking about breakneck overnight. It was quite literally, we left work at midnight and we got to Portland at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. the next day or
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. It was an insane trip for sure.
But Brad's been just awesome helping us out.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping an eye on all of our projects, and he's going to be helping us push through our social media channels. He's really, really excited to be working with us, and we're really excited to be working with him and actually get to participate in some of these projects and save some turtles.
Now, just to make a quick comment on this, I have no idea, and feel free to check me on this, whoever is wanting to check this, but it was either in 2018 or 2019, Sea Turtles saved roughly 1.8 million hatchlings in Central and South America. They've got some really cool statistics that we're excited to bring forward and talk about what they've been doing. But they've been doing the real world work, and that's something we're really excited to do. We're not afraid to get dirty, and one of the real joys that we are excited to experience is actually getting to go down and take part in the real world, real life efforts that are taking place and meet all these people that are quite literally changing the face of conservation and trying to do what we would love to get involved in, which is save turtles. And to see the people really making a difference would be incredible.
Definitely. All right. So you guys are keen innovators, I suppose. You're doing all the right things, the websites, the educating, the speaking, interviews, marketing, advertising, press, fighting crime on the side, shaking hands, kissing babies, hugging necks, that type of thing. So from your mind, can you define the attitudes we must have behind true innovation that may spark a movement or even change the world one day?
You want to start off on this one?
Well, it's a quote from you. When I came to Brendan we decided to make it a charity event. Brendan came up, he told me something that really stuck. He said, a game can change the world. We can prove this. We can prove the concept that if we give people a good time for a good cause, we can change the world. And I got to thinking about it, and he's absolutely right. We can change the world. 3 guys can help the entire world change the world.
Let me just preface this a little bit. I know I keep saying preface. I like that word. So I've lived my whole life, and Jordan has too, under the shadow of entrepreneurial parents. Right? Like, we've spent our whole life. I remember back when I was 15 years old, 13 years old, helping my dad make plastic clips for his company that he was starting in the garage. We just sat there and we spent several hours bending these little plastic clips into position so my dad could use them for his work. And like, that was just what it was, is you put in the work and you make things happen. But none of us really have done this before. I've spent the last 7 or 8 years trying to start businesses, but on a much smaller scale, and we've never had this kind of a project, and we've never clicked this well. Things have not historically gone as smoothly as they have gone on this run, and we are learning faster than we have ever learned, but it's been a roller coaster and just a pure thrill the entire time. It really has.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, aside from your own game, what's your favorite card game of all time?
That's a really tough question. I mean, we decided to ask Mario first because he wouldn't be able to
attend the interview,
so we needed to know beforehand. And his first question was, well, would you mean a trading card game or a card game? Because, and it's true, I mean, in terms of trading card games, I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, so I really love those. But with real, party-style card games, I am all day about Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of just straight-up card games, it's hard to beat. You know, it's just the perfect party game. And I have so much respect for those guys, right? Because they literally, their marketing department is some sort of just a fairy tale, because they literally sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of poop. And I have never seen anything I have admired so much. It was brilliant. And they were upfront about it. Did you see that campaign?
No.
They threw a big advertisement and they released an expansion deck. And when they put it on their website, you know, in true Cards Against Humanity fashion, they quite literally, and I'm keeping the language clean, but they said, this is literally a box of poop. If you buy this box, you will be getting a box of poop. And they had tens of thousands of people purchase this box, regardless of what they said, because that's how viral and powerful their game is. That people were like, okay, I'd rather risk it than not get this expansion.
Yeah.
Right? And it's brilliant. They're, in terms of marketing indie games, they are really, truly innovators. Big fans of what they've done. To read off CJ's answers.
Yeah.
So Mario said that his favorite trading card game is Magic the Gathering for physical card games. Went for online trading card games. His favorite card game is Dark Souls the card game, or Too Many Turtles, which he wanted to include. And his favorite board game is Thunderstone Quest. So he gave us a whole synopsis of his top 5 list.
The top 5 list?
Oh, yeah. He listed off his favorite board game, his favorite card game, his favorite online card game, his favorite trading card game.
You couldn't tell he was a little excited, but pretty sad he couldn't be on here.
Okay. Dope. All right. So, you guys, final question. How can our listeners connect with you and visit the Kickstarter?
All right. So, we've got the easiest way to tell you guys to get there is www.treyamichigames.com. If you go to our website, we've got links to our campaign video. We've got links to our Kickstarter pre-launch. We've got all of our social media contacts. If you go to our blog, we've got content with all of our contacts on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. If you search for Too Many Turtles, and all of these specific tags are on our website. The campaign will be live on February 14th. So on February 14th, you can go to our Kickstarter page, or you can look us up on Kickstarter and back our project. And our goal is $50,000, which is about 2,000 backers. So that's what we need to actually fund this game and get it off the ground and get a running start on this.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. The innovation team of Too Many Turtles, the great thinkers here, are here with us tonight. And we can't wait till the product comes, man. Valentine's Day.
We're so excited. We're going to show the turtles some love. We're going to do something to help our planet, show our planet a little love on Valentine's Day. And I'd be willing to bet that there's going to be some people that hear about us. We got some stuff coming up for launch that we're really excited about, and we're trying to make some noise. So keep an eye out. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much for your time, man.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it.
All right, enjoy your night, man.
Hey, you too. Talk to you soon. See ya.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab that from either Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, iTunes, YouTube, any app that's on a Google Play or iTunes store, or our website. And that goes from every single episode that we've ever aired. If you'd like to request music or a particular guest or send something for me to play, email it to theradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. If it's music, please label it by artist and title. Here's my disclaimer. We are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, you can scratch all of that because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Nah, just kidding. On behalf of myself, Dini-Mussolini, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, as well as Spreaker. We always follow back. That is the number one rule. Okay, well, just remember to be yourself and be absolutely great at just doing that. Avoid being too comfortable because you're messing with your potential when you do that. Peace and have a good night.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.